Did Long Island University in any way prepare you for your career in journalism? Do you think?
I was already in it in a small way. It must have. I haven't thought about that because I have the George Polk Award. This LIU is connected with, and that's a heavy award.
Were you a student while you were working for the Pittsburgh Courier?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah,
You were
yeah,
already
I was
in it.
part-time.
When did you?
I was working for the New York editor. No, a man who was a New York editor of the Pittsburgh Courier. They had the Pittsburgh Courier had 12 editions, I think, throughout the country. And this man who ran the New York office, and he was in Harlem, he had a crush on my aunt. So it was easy to get that job. Very easy. I worked on him so quick before he knew it. I worked for him, you know.
Will you tell the young people who will be watching this what the significance of the Pittsburgh Courier was at that time, in those early 40s?
Number one, it was probably, I think, for a long time, the only legitimate black newspaper. It had ups and downs through the years. Some places where it fell apart, some cities, other places where it thrived. The big cities, it thrived. New York was very good because New York is the hub of everything, you know. And slowly, the Courier got a monopoly on all bad news, the lynchings, you know, the Martin Luther Kings. I mean, all of those people we produced first. And of course, we were not even trying to compete with the New York Times, the News or Post or anything. But I did do stringer work for those papers because it took a long time for them to understand that Martin Luther King was news. And I'm down there already.
Down there, you mean?
So, you know, yeah.
Participating in the marches, that's what you mean?
Yeah, no, just the existence
of
this man.
I
yeah,
see.
This is way,
okay.
way ahead. Everybody in the South knew about Martin Luther King and his influence. Everybody knew it. But nobody white in any other place knew what he was or what anything was. So for a while, the Times was the first paper to pick up on him.
I see.
And
the New York
first
Times.
time I was a stringer for the Times, the Post, and News. You know, and then I got a radio job doing news, and I was a stringer for a lot of NBC and everything. I'm stringer for, I can be had for anything except big money, you know, to cover the Southland and things that are of interest to black people or should be interest to everybody.
But your office was in New York City?
In New York, in
always.
7th Avenue.
I see, in 7th Avenue.
Russo, he my first teacher. Russo, Mr. Russo, the editor of this New York edition, I think I just told you he was in love with my aunt, so he was easy to get a job from. When Daddy bought me an immediate, that mother and father son. When Evelyn just came over screaming and yelling, I got a job, I'm a newspaper person. You know what Daddy did, went and bought a second-hand typewriter.
Oh,
you know,
see, there you go with his father.
I'm telling you,
I'm
telling you.
Oh,
and I was wondering, I said, maybe I can go to the office and practice, or maybe I can get a second hand. Daddy was gone.
He was so proud of you, obviously.
That's right. And my job at the time, I don't know what people do now who start. My job simply was to read the New York Times every day, to clip anything I read in the Times that seems to be of interest to black people in Harlem.
I see.
Anything. Funny thing, musical thing, show business, killings, and that was easy. It was fun.
Like
I said it's a funny way to run a paper, but it's easy, and you know it's interesting. And in a sense, most black people had not read the Times.
Yes.
So I'm doing this. I'm clipping the Times every day, and then get a pile there, and I go over to my daddy's typewriter. As Mr. Russo told me, then after I got the clip, he said, now rewrite each story for a black audience to be sold in Harlem. the story I just clipped it. And that was such a one. It was so easy. He didn't know it was easy. It was so easy to me. But it's an interesting way to run a publication.
Absolutely.
And they did it for years that way. And here we get in the New York Times with all and we knew the New York Times didn't lie or make mistakes. You know, never, never. So, and to put it in my language, and again, in a very strong way, I felt my grandmother. I know she was helping me.